5 90s movies that deserve a remake. Let's freaking Joe. The 90s gave us some truly unique films, y'all. In my opinion, the 90s are the best era of movies. Some of them ahead of their time. Some of them were overlooked and others just missed the mark because of budget limitations or execution. With today's advancements in filmmaking, many of these movies can be successfully reimagined for a modern audience. Now, whether through a faithful adaptation or a bold reimagining, here are 5 movies that would benefit from a remake that would enhance their strengths and refine their weaknesses, okay? We've all thought about this before. For some reason, Hollywood tends to remake successful films. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, some of the films on my list are very successful, but I also picked out some hidden gems, some movies that would really benefit from the remake treatment. So let's get right into it. Number 1, Falling Down. Y'all remember that Michael Douglas thriller, Falling Down? Everyday working man becomes vigilante. It was really good. I saw it in the theater. It's such a good movie. Michael Douglas puts on an absolute clinic. There's nothing wrong with this movie. It's a gripping thriller. Okay, it's about a frustrated middle-class man who snaps under the pressure of modern society. And to me, with today's political and economic climate, a movie like that would be more relevant than ever. A remake could explore themes of class struggle, toxic masculinity, societal decay in a more nuanced way. A new version could shift perspectives, focusing more on the moral ambiguity of the protagonist's breakdown. So Falling Down would be great. You could go in so many different directions with this movie. I would love to see an actor of today's world slide into this role, this sort of everyman, disgruntled, screwed by the system type guy. I love all the secondary characters in the original. The Nazi that owned the thrift shop, you could really just multiply that. You could make him like this really far right-wing person. You could do a lot of anti-immigrant stuff with this movie. You could definitely do an anti-LGBTQ plus community angle in there if you wanted to. There's a lot of things to explore with this film. If you look at the way modern male sort of views the world and how they possibly feel slighted by society, or especially modern white male. You know what I mean? You could really play into that, like modern white male conservative, maybe society's overlooking me, put me on the back burner. There's so many things where you could take this person, this everyday person, and sort of show how he snaps and is pushed to a limit that causes him to do things that he wouldn't ordinarily do. And of course, you should keep the family aspect, keep the fact that he's losing his family. That should be like the thing that starts the film. His wife's leaving him, he's losing his child, and then he meets all these different characters along his way and becomes like a vigilante type. Y'all, seriously, someone remake Falling Down. It's a great film. It doesn't need a remake. I just feel like it would be totally relevant to give that film the reboot treatment in the year that we live in right now. Next on the list, Dark City. Listen to my words. There would be no Matrix without Dark City. I don't care what anybody says. I've said this before and I've had people argue, oh no, it's this or it's that, or you're wrong. It's actually, there would be no Matrix if it wasn't for, then they quote some Japanese thing. Listen to my freaking words, people. I want you to go watch Dark City and then think about the fact that it came out before the Matrix. There would be no Matrix without Dark City. Dark City is so good. It has such a good idea. I love, Alex Proyas is such a great director. The Crow is my favorite film. It will always be my favorite film. It's so stylish. It's so gothic. It just looks so good. And Dark City's the same way. It just looks good. It has that gritty surrealism about it. It's very much ahead of its time. Dark City is a visually stunning sci-fi noir. As I mentioned before, it was overshadowed by The Matrix, but it has an incredibly rich concept about reality manipulation and identity. A remake could refine its storytelling, expand on its mysterious overseers, and utilize modern CGI to fully realize its dreamlike cityscape. With today's emphasis on simulation theory and AI consciousness, Dark City could be a massive hit. Think about that for a second, right? Think about the world that we live in with everything going on with AI. It wouldn't have to be aliens. It could be AI doing this, right? I mean, the idea that there's this rock floating around in outer space that is this city where they do their little experiments. None of us know. We go to sleep at night. They come in, they move us around. We wake up a different person, but someone wakes up in the middle of all that and has to figure it out. That's just really cool. I love that it's sort of film noir, but it's not overly noir where it doesn't appeal to a massive audience, and they could keep that. Definitely keep the dark tone. You'd have to find a director that could work with this without sort of popcorn flicking it up too much, because that'll happen. You'll take a good director who wants to make a movie that's going to appeal to everyone, and before you know it, it's turned into a popcorn flick. So Marvel people, stay away from this one. But Dark City, abso-freaking-lutely. Remake this film, use today's special effects, use sort of AI consciousness instead of aliens, and just expand on that world and make the scale larger. This is one of those films that suffer from budget limitations, in my opinion, because it could have been such a larger scale film. It just needed a larger budget. So Dark City could definitely be a blockbuster. Remake Dark City. Next on the list, Waterworld. All right, now hear me out, y'all. Freaking hear me out on this. Waterworld was considered a flop when it came out. I guess because it didn't open to $100 million. I didn't consider it a flop. It made its money back. It just didn't make a lot of money in the theater. And it is a good movie. I liked Waterworld. I don't know why the critics panned it so heavily. I don't know what was wrong with it. Like, I think people talked about Kevin Costner's performance being flat. It's like, have you ever watched the Kevin Costner film? That's what he does. Okay? He doesn't have a lot of range. He's Kevin Costner. He plays Kevin Costner. And in this movie, of course he's flat. He's a freaking man with gills, right? Like, he's been on the water so long, he's formed gills. He doesn't talk to anyone. He's a loner. This is a modern Western, people. All Western film protagonists are flat. Look at Clint Eastwood. They're very sort of here, and they're always the actor playing themselves. So I thought Kevin Costner was cast perfectly in this film. But a little recap. So famously over budget film, right? Famously over budget. Just the budget was crazy on this movie, and they went over. It had this ambitious premise, Waterworld. You know, the polar ice caps have melted. The whole world's covered in water. We don't know how long this has lasted, but people don't remember dry land, so it'd probably been a long time. It had potential to be great, but I think it suffered from production issues. The movie itself was an adventure film. It was almost like they were trying to be Spielberg-esque with it, you know, a Spielberg adventure, but then they're telling this dystopian sci-fi film, so I think you need to take your pick on that one. A remake could embrace a more grounded and gritty approach to the story in this post-apocalyptic ocean world, with modern effects bringing its vast, flooded landscapes to life. Think Mad Max Fury Road, but on water, with strong world building and character development. So that's what this film needed, right? We've got the world. There were a lot of little things in it, like how paper was such a big deal to people. They did have little world building things. He's peeing in a cup and turning it into drinkable water and all that. But Waterworld, if remade today, they could use climate change. You know, they could do whatever they wanted to tell the reason why we're living on this water world. I think I'm going to go here. I don't care what people say. 2 words. Flat Earth. Okay? Surrounded by Antarctica. Water world inside of that. Talk amongst yourselves. That's what I think they should do with it. But yeah, it would be great. You could take someone like Bradley Cooper, you know, throw him in this role. There are actually a lot of people that could carry this film. I like the secondary characters in the original. You'd have to have a good, strong female lead for this, and a child that's not too precocious, but just precocious enough to not be annoying. You know what I mean? As far as the villain goes, I mean, you can have a funny villain if you want to, and I guess that helps with making it more Hollywood, making the film appeal to a wider audience, but I don't think it's necessarily a requirement of telling this type of story. So, you know what? I loved Chris Hemsworth in the new Mad Max movie, y'all. So a villain like that would be perfect for Waterworld. He's kind of funny. He's kind of goofy, you know. He's also serious. He's also a bad guy. So I don't know. I think Dennis Hopper did a great job. But the film could really benefit from being made in today's world with today's effects and a budget consistent with the story that you're trying to tell, especially for the scenes where they go down under the water. So I think giving Waterworld another shot would be a good idea. The next one on the list is something smaller in scale. It's a 1999 film called Ravenous. Do y'all remember Ravenous? Ravenous is a horror western. It's about cannibalism, survival, and manifest destiny, and it's a complete hidden gem. Injured soldier goes to this outpost where people are living and reviving their injuries by being cannibals. It's a great story. I love that it's a western. I love how gritty and bloody it is. A remake could lean into the psychological horror elements while maintaining the dark humor a little bit. With directors like Robert Eggers of The Witch or Ari Aster of Hereditary fame, Ravenous could be transformed into a bone-chilling period horror masterpiece. Now imagine if Robert Eggers got a hold of this thing, okay? He's the guy that directed The Witch. Oh my gosh, it would be so realistic. I mean, I know he's not gonna do a remake. He's got his own stories to tell, but man, it would be so good. Imagine the psychological horror aspect of the film. The slow, dreadful, creeping death of a soldier stranded in an outpost in the winter with a bunch of cannibals around him, and how he uncovers this secret as he goes along, and just the dynamic between him and the other characters, and the violence. But you don't even have to really show all of it. You could do like the don't show but tell thing that they do in a lot of films that works so well. You kind of would need to keep the blood. The only reason I really think Ravenous should be remade is because I thought it should be bigger when it came out, and I'd like to see it made, and I'd like to see it be successful. I'd like to see a big, successful version of Ravenous, y'all. So, freaking cast Guy Pearce in the role also. You know what I mean? Like, he's older now, but I don't even give a crap. He's a chameleon. He's a great actor. He's one of my top favorite actors. You could do a little fish out of water scenario too. Keep it in the Western days. Maybe make it sort of Civil War time era. Cast Anthony Mackie or somebody like that in the role. That'd be awesome, you know, because it gives it this whole other element. You could have all these little racial undertones and things happening. You know, you could have some identity crisis going on. It adds to the sort of fish out of water element. Would be great if you cast a non-Caucasian actor in that role during that time period. So Ravenous, I mean, again, I really want to see the remake, so that's mostly why it's on the list. It's not something that needs to be remade, but I'd like to see it. And the last one for today, The Vanishing. The Vanishing is already a remake of a French film, and people say the French version is better than the American version. I don't know that I agree with that. I've seen both. It is good, but let's say if you watch the American version first and then you go watch the French version, you're not going to think that the French version is better. And if you don't ever watch the French version and you only watch the American version, you know, you're not going to know that you're missing anything anyways. But why do I think it needs remade? So the original, it was a Dutch version. It's not French, it's Dutch, and it came out about 5 years before. It's a psychological thriller masterpiece, but people say that the horror remake watered down the impact with a Hollywood-friendly ending. And look, that is the point of contention here, right? The ending. Just because an ending is satisfying doesn't mean it's watered down or doesn't mean that it's less impactful. I like the ending of the 1993 version of The Vanishing. I like the sort of added female character, the person who's out there sort of rooting for the guy who's completely obsessed with this, finding out what happened to his fiance, you know, or his girlfriend. I don't remember. Was that his fiance or just his girlfriend? I don't know. A proper remake should return to the disturbing existential horror of the original while updating the setting and characters for a modern audience. The rise of true crime obsession could make this film more terrifying than ever now. True crime, y'all. If you think about true crime, you think about how obsessed we are in today's world with true crime, and everyone's got a podcast. Everyone's got a YouTube channel. You could put that guy, you could put the lead in that role. You could even make the lead a female instead of a male, which I think would be great. I mean, let's be honest. We'd rather watch a female running around going through all this crap anyways, right? So make it a female, give her a podcast or something. She's been completely obsessed with finding her missing boyfriend for all these years. And just do something with the internet. Do something with maybe videos being emailed to her, showing her things. And maybe the guy that did it posted a video of what he did on the dark web. You know what I mean? And dig a little bit more into the psyche of the villain and uncover why he's doing what he does, what makes him tick. Because if you watch the 93 version, Jeff Daniels is great, but the reason he does this is because he can. He just wanted to see if he could. He saved somebody from drowning, and then he wanted to see, well, what's the worst I can do if that's the best I can do? I like the idea of this. I like villains that are more than just one dimension. Like, I don't want my villain to just be a straight villain. I like that he's a family man and everything. But I also want to see his progression a little bit and see that he becomes sort of, maybe he starts out one way, ends up another way, and then is a complete villain by the end of the film. I don't mind that he's killed. You can go ahead and kill the dude. He doesn't have to get away with it. You know, he doesn't, the good guy doesn't have to lose at the end. But finding a new way to tell the ending, and I'm not here to, we could get into that and we could all talk about that, but finding a new way to tell the ending. The original was, okay, bad guy gets away with it. The remake was girlfriend saves the boyfriend, kills the bad guy. So find a different way to tell that ending where both worlds are satisfied. You know what I mean? Like where maybe the good guy still has something to lose and still loses something. There are consequences, even though the person ultimately finds out what happens and lives. There are still consequences. You know what I mean? That would be something really good to do with this film. So, and again, utilizing the internet, maybe whatever it is broadcast for the whole world to see, or maybe by making the choice to find out what happens to her boyfriend, if you make it a female, she has to do something that's horrible. So instead of just being buried alive, in order to find out, she has to do the thing that the bad guy does to her boyfriend, right? And then she finds out she lives, but it gets broadcast on the internet, and now everybody knows she did it, so she becomes the villain. Hey, look at that. Just by sitting around talking about it a little bit, I came up with the freaking plot of the movie, y'all. I really am good at this crap. I'm a screenwriter too, by the way. No big deal, but if you're looking for something, call your boy. All right, well, that's it for Total Rewind this week. Those are my 5 90s films that I think deserve a remake. I've got 5 more coming next time. Thanks for watching, and as usual, snitchy boochies.